Hi guys, that's it. I wanted to do something which I'm sure a lot of people are doing at the moment with the lockdown. Everybody's got a little more time on their hands to be going through those old boxes in garages, lofts, and in my case at my parents' house in their basement. So I came up with some absolute treasures and wanted to talk a little bit about the long lost treasure that is the NBA VHS video. Now, for a lot of people of a similar age to me, around the sort of, let's just say, the 30 to 50 bracket, so as to not go too far with it, will remember pre-YouTube and pre even the internet being the norm. This is how we kind of got our fix of NBA, and it was pretty hard to find these things a lot of the time because they weren't in every single store. The first one I ever got was this one, the classic Michael Jordan's Playground. Now, I wouldn't even care to guess how many times I've watched this video over the years. I now have it on DVD I have it here somewhere, the Jordan box set DVD collection, but I'm sure it's on YouTube, so anybody that's never seen it, please just check out Michael Jordan's Playground, because this for me was like the seminal NBA VHS tape. And then there was other ones like this one, Come Fly With Me, which was actually the first one he ever did. And this is, I think, 1989 it came out. So this covers a lot of his very early career, high school and college as well. So yeah, these are the two that probably took the most beating back then. I also had Airtime and another one too, but I'm not sure where they went to be honest. But I've forgotten I even had some of these classics, like this one for example, Dazzling Dunks and Basketball Bloopers. And this is just the most 80s NBA video ever. It's got highlights of dunk contests from like 1984 up to about 89, so loads of MJ action, loads of Dominique Wilkins, and those kind of guys. And I used to watch this one all the time as well, and it has all the bloopers on it as well, which is a lot of fun. But then as the game kind of became a little bit more popular over here, I think it was probably this video that had a lot to do with it, because the 92 Dream Team really kicked it off for a lot of people with their awareness of the NBA in the early 90s, because it was the first time that in the UK we got to see up close and personal some of the best players of all time in one place. I mean, just looking at the team now, it's still incredible to think that this was an actual team that played. It's certainly the first real exposure I had to the game in the States. I was aware of Jordan, Bird and Magic Johnson, but it alerted me to the likes of Pippen, Charles Barkley, Chris Mullin, Karl Malone. So there's so many stars on that team, and this was just like a compilation of their NBA highlights. They did them for the Dream Team 2 as well. I particularly enjoyed this one. I was actually in the States while they played the tournament that they were in, and one of my other favourite players, Dominique Wilkins, was in that team, along with the likes of Sean Kemp, Steve Smith, Larry Johnson, Shaq, Mark Price, Reggie Miller. So there's some great players on that team as well. Very different to the original Dream Team, because this was kind of like the new guard, the first time that they came to the forefront of the world's attention, as well as a nice mix of veterans too. So these are always really good videos for people to sort of get to know players that you might not necessarily be familiar with. The 90s was obviously dominated by the Chicago Bulls, and what NBA video used to do was they'd release a video at the end of each season, looking back on the season of the winning team. Then this one, I think, was one of the first ones that came out in the UK, and it was about the Chicago Bulls' first three-peat, and it was the 93 season where they beat the Phoenix Suns in the finals. So this was like a collection of all the highlights of the season. Again, just a really great compilation. It's not just a Michael Jordan film, it's about the entire team and the amazing accomplishment of winning three straight. And then the second coming of Jordan and the second three-peat, this was the first one that they won, and one of my favourite series of all time, because to me that series against Seattle Supersonics in '96, that was just that was kind of my basketball generation perfectly right there. And Channel 4 had started covering the NBA So I stayed up late watching that entire series and the games before it. So this was the first year of the great trio that we're watching now on The Last Dance, Jordan, Pippen and Rodman. And the core of this team was the one that the new documentary focuses on. So this is kind of where it all began for them. Historic season, they won 72 games that year, it might have been 73 from 82. And I think everybody knew that this was the start of a dynasty that just was not going to go away for a few years. A lot of debate at the moment whether they would have gone on to win more. Personally, I believe that they would. I think a team with Jordan and Pippen in has got to be a contender every year. And it's just amazing sort of reliving my basketball youth watching The Last Dance at the moment. So really keen to hear what everybody's take on it is, especially some of the younger guys, because this is probably the first time you're going to get to see the team as a whole and not just MJ or Pippen. You're going to get to see the other factions of that team and what a great coach Phil Jackson was. So I'm really, really hyped that that's on at the moment. And the other great thing is, if you check out Netflix, classic, Space Jam. How many people got into the game because of Space Jam? And it's just timeless. I still love watching it. Me and my daughter watched it the other day for the millionth time and still laugh at the same bits. So yeah, it's great to see that they put Space Jam on there as well. What else have we got? I mean, there were so many good ones that came out. They did individual players. Shaquille O'Neal. This was a weird one. I wonder how many people had this one. This came out just as Shaq entered the league in '92, and I bought this video thinking, oh great, this is going to be an NBA type video of the Magic, but it actually isn't. This is about the build up to his NBA career, so it covers his college and high school career in quite a lot of depth really. There's actually no NBA footage as such, and it also has him in the studio when he became a rapper for a while with a group called the Fushnikins. That's a funny one to think back to, but yeah, that was like the first Shaq release, and then the NBA did an official Shaq video called Larger Than Life, which very much centres on his Orlando career. This was pre-Lakers and pre-everything else, and pre-championships for Shaq. This was just when he was a superstar. And the thing I've just noticed on this that I loved about these NBA videos, that you'd always get high-profile actors doing the voiceover. So for example, this one, the narrator was Samuel L. Jackson. I mean, come on, does it get cooler than that, having Samuel L. Jackson commentating a basketball video? Sir Charles focuses on Charles Barkley's career up to when he was a Phoenix Sun. Who's the narrator on this one? It's Avery Brooks. Don't remember that one. But yeah, the other cool thing was on the inside of the boxes, it always had pictures of all the other videos in the series. So I used to like making sure I had all of them. I certainly had all the ones on that one. Yeah, there's Airtime. That was probably the one of the other favourites that I had. That was about Jordan's career around '92, the second championship. So we got Sir Charles, and then they bring out these type of videos now and again. NBA Superstars 3. I remember Superstars 2 as well. And this one actually has, as they all did, they had like well-known artists doing a music video, essentially, for the players' highlights. So, for example, I love this one because Sean Kemp's has got a track by Pearl Jam, who were a big Seattle band. And I remember Sean Kemp saying that he was actually a Pearl Jam fan at one point. Who else have we got on here? Shaq doing his own. Got LL Cool J, M People moving on up, doing Derek Coleman and Steve Smith. Crazy. I'm not sure why Dan Marley got lumbered with Celine Dion though. Sorry, Dan. So yeah, there was these ones. This is a great video. This is presented by Dr. J actually, and he talks about the history of the slam dunk, and goes into some depth about the pioneers of the dunk, going back to Darryl Dawkins, who obviously was one of the first guys to smash backboards, Dr. J himself. Front cover you got Kemp, Chris Webber, Larry Johnson, Pippen, and Shaq of course. On the back, my guy, Dominique, Jordan, Derek Coleman. So yeah, that was always a fun one to watch as well. So there's just so many great videos that they used to bring out. This one, was a favourite of mine as well, because they actually released an album, a CD, and I'm sure I had that as well. This was a pretty well-known show in the 90s called NBA Jam Session. So what they did with this one was, it wasn't just featuring specific players, it was highlights of just the NBA in general. And yeah, I'm just looking at the track list here. You had Biggie Smalls, Heavy D, Rex and Effects, Belle Biv DeVoe, but you even had guys like Glenn Fry from the Eagles and Steely Dan. So yeah, this one video is a lot of fun. Loads of great highlights on it. And yeah, I mean, I remember actually going out and trying to find the CD and finding it. It was quite easy to find, actually. It's one of those where you think, oh, I'm never going to find that. But I guess because they'd released the video, the CD was readily available too. So yeah, that one was always a lot of fun. And does anyone else remember as well that on a lot of these, there always used to be an advert for other videos that were coming out, which kind of wet your whiskers to go out and buy more of them. Clever ploy that. What's this one here? Jordan to the Max, not as well known. This is actually one that I bought when I was in the States. It's in the traditional American style cardboard slipcase, which I never thought was as good as the British ones. A lot sturdier. But yeah, that's a great documentary as well. Described by Washington Post simply as stunning. It'll do for me, Washington Post. Featuring hit songs by Fatboy Slim, Earth, Wind and Fire and Freddie King. I mean, music was such a big part of the game, and it still is. I mean, music and basketball kind of go hand in hand in so many ways. We're going to do a couple of shows. I've already got some great shows planned to talk about music and basketball and how the two just kind of come together. Not necessarily even the genres that you think traditionally, like kind of hip hop, soul, R&B and whatnot. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to getting stuck into the culture of music and the sport. So keep an eye out for those videos. So yeah, the last one I've got here, a bit closer to home. I wonder how many people have got this one. This was a video that the Manchester Giants released in 1999 after they won the Uniball Trophy. They beat the Derby Storm at Birmingham. I was at the game. One of the two great Nick Nurse teams. And on the back there you see Ronnie Baker, who was the MVP that day. There's pictures of the great Tony Dorsey, John White, Tony Holly. And this was a video that they released shortly after with highlights of the game. Such an unassuming front cover, but yeah, great thing to still have after all these years. I'd forgotten that it even existed till I pulled it out of the box. So nice bit of Giants memorabilia there. So yeah, but then onto the DVD side. I mean, even DVD to a lot of people is now considered old school. But I mean, how can you not keep getting out on video? But you got, I mean, come on, you got to have it just for the cover. White Men Can't Jump. For me, the sort of seminal basketball movie, or at least one of them. And yeah, I used to watch this game all the time. In fact, I remember the video of this actually having the preview and showing a couple of clips from the NBA Jam Session video, which is how I came to get that. But yeah, White Men Can't Jump, classic. This is a great documentary. It's one of the 30/30 ESPNs. It's called Jordan Rides the Bus. And this is a documentary purely about when MJ retired and went to play baseball for a year and a half. And it's so interesting because obviously the hoopla around it all, of the greatest basketball player of all time going and playing professional baseball, you know, he came under some serious scrutiny from the press about it. And this documentary kind of goes into greater depth about what happened during that time. It's directed by Ron Shelton, actually, who directed White Men Can't Jump. So yeah, this is a great documentary if you're an MJ fan, and it actually sort of highlights the fact that he didn't suck. He just wasn't good enough to play Major League Baseball. But again, the thing it highlights, and what people are starting to see now with The Last Dance, is just the competitive nature of this guy. For me, it was like, okay, he's going to go play baseball, and you can't even call it a money-making scheme because, let's face it, he was one of the wealthiest athletes on the planet. And the more you watch things like this, the more you see that this is a guy that was just so competitive. he had to challenge himself to see if he could make it in another sport. And the way I look at it is, I mean, I'm a baseball fan too, and I just kind of look at it as, okay, fair enough, you want to try that, go ahead and do it. And you know, the fact it didn't work out the way he wanted it to, and it was the season that actually ended with a baseball strike, which prompted him to join the Bulls again. It's a really important part of the Michael Jordan story, this, so I highly recommend getting hold of a copy of that, or seeing if it's online anywhere. Jordan Rides the Bus. Really interesting stuff. So yeah, hope I've brought back a few memories. I still actually have a VHS player, so I might even spend the afternoon checking some of these bad boys out. How could I forget some of these? Obviously, you used to record Channel 4's games. I still have a couple here. I've not kept, so I would have had boxes of these things. This is the Bulls versus the Knicks. I think this is the 55-point game just after his comeback, after Jordan's comeback, which was a great game. What else have I got here? The 2000 BBL All-Star game. The Giants Sheffield Sharks league decided that we covered the other day with on Below the Rim with Tony Dorsey and Scants. And this is a great one. It's the date on it's the 7th, the 3rd, 2000, and it's the Atlanta Hawks v the Houston Rockets. And I taped that off the TV when I was in the States because I was at the game. And I'd always, when I was there, I'd get in as many Hawks games as I could. But this one was great because I got to see Akeem Olajuwon, one of the greats of all time. And at the time, Steve Francis played for the Rockets as well. So he was a big star, and as well as getting to see all my favourite Hawks players. So a lot of good memories on these. So everybody get up in the loft, in the garage. Let's see what you've got. See you next time. Don't forget, like us and share us on Facebook. Subscribe to the channel because there's going to be lots of content coming out over the coming months. And as soon as this lockdown's over, we're going to be back out there at the forefront, courtside, talk to players, coaches, and anybody involved in the game. So hit us up, like, share, subscribe, and let's keep doing it. Stay safe.